Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs postgame show podcast. The Cubs lose the series opener to the Atlanta Braves down in Georgia, 2-0, just 5 hits for the Cubs offense. Shota Imanaga was good, but the offense just was not there tonight. Luke Stuckmeyer, Ryan Herrera, and Kevin Wells with you. Cody has the night off. Guys, Imanaga gave you what you needed. It wasn't his best game. He wasn't spectacular, but when on your bad day, you go 5 shutout innings, I don't know what more you could really ask from the guy.
Yeah, no, it's kind of funny when you look at it as like Shota's maybe not one of his better starts, but it's like 5 scoreless innings against one of the best teams in baseball. I mean, you saw it today, right? Like they made him work. He had 5 walks coming into today. They took 3, right? They had 7 hits on him, something like that.
Yep.
And they weren't like, you could say like there were some ground balls that found holes and got through the infield. That happened. But like they were hard. Most of them were like hard hit. Expected at batting averages. I think the lowest one I saw was like a 410. So they weren't cheap hits by any means. So it was an example of the Braves are a really good lineup and they're going to make them work, and they did. But Shota, I feel like he's been tested previously, and like he's had a couple jams here and there, but like this is the first time where a team was kind of on him for most of the game, and he still managed just to go 5 scoreless. Doesn't give up a run, gets out of multiple multi-runner innings, right? So picks off a couple guys to get out of those jams, right? So
those were huge pickoffs, by the way.
Oh yeah, Acuna and was it Albies?
Yeah,
right? Ozzie Albies. So yeah, he he was getting, I think he had 18 whiffs on 50 swings, so 36% whiff rates, is still getting some bad swings and misses. It's like I said before during the pregame show, that is like, this is kind of a litmus test for him to see how he stacks up against one of the best lineups in baseball. And despite it not being stat line wise his best start of the year, I think it was a really, really good performance from him to show that not only can he still do the things he does, but when he does get into trouble, he's able to get out of it against a really, really good lineup. I think for Imanaga, like that, this was it was as tough a test maybe as he's faced all year, but as good a sign that like even in those tough opponents, like you can really trust him to keep you in a position to win. And that's what he did. He leaves the game. It's a scoreless game, and I think that's what you needed to see out of Shota going up, in Atlanta, going up against that Braves lineup.
Yeah, and I think you really need to win that game, right? This is a really tough lineup, and Shota, not his best start, but I mean, he was again outstanding tonight. Like the guy is a machine out there. You feel like you need to capitalize with the way the offensive output's been over the last couple of weeks. Yeah, you've had a couple of multi-run games, 5, you had 6, 7 here and there, but the offense is it's not been enough. And Shota can't bail you out every time. Mm-hmm. But it feels like he did enough again tonight for you to get a win. You couldn't do it. Wisniewski, again, comes in, looks dominant, gets 2 outs, scores 2 runs. But yeah, Shota tonight, you can't fault him at all. I loved what I saw with the sweeper again today. I missed the first couple of innings because I was driving, so I was listening to the radio call, but I was able to catch up and look at some of Shota's splits and some of his swings. Like you said, 18 whiffs. He was outstanding again tonight. This guy is a machine, and it really stings when you can't win his starts because, yes, they're getting contributions across the starting rotation, but he's clearly been ace material. And against, you could call this the second best lineup in baseball if you want to. And for my money, it's the best lineup in baseball. And 8 strikeouts, swing and miss. It was all there. He had the bases loaded with Acuna up, gets him to pop out, has a 3-1 count, could walk in a run. There was a great pitch, gets a pop out to end the inning. Just calm, cool, collected out there. Didn't let the check swing get to him. What Counsell got thrown out on. I know we're going to talk about that. Didn't let that get to him. He was frustrated. Just went out and made another pitch. He's great. He's been just an unbelievable pickup.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. Like this is the first start, Imanaga's first start that the Cubs didn't win. So he hasn't gotten the decision, and every single time he's been out there. But this is the first time the Cubs didn't win one of his starts. So even though previously he again, I think it was two starts he had no decisions in. They still kept the Cubs in a position to win that game, which they would go on to do. Today it didn't happen, but it was just, again, a sign of like, this is a guy that when the lights are bright, as you're facing the best teams, like you feel like you can trust him on the bump against the best teams in baseball. So we're thinking, 4 months from now, whatever it is, 4.5 months from now, you're thinking playoffs. Like, I think you're already starting to look at it as like, yeah, you're pretty comfortable with Shota Imanaga on the bump for the Cubs if they get in the playoff game.
100%.
It's funny because that's exactly what I was thinking. And then as you started talking, I thought to myself, I'm not going to say it. We're only in May. How can we even be thinking like he's got so many months ahead of him that things could go wrong and derail? But it's true. You look at a guy and say 5 shutout against the Braves. That's a good team. He pitched well. He shut out the Dodgers. He's pitched well against the Padres twice. He's pitching well against good teams that now have scouting reports against him. And I don't know if you want to jump ahead and go ahead and say he's the ace instead of Justin Steele because it's been a month. But I like the idea of that 1-2 punch. Let me tell you that. I never considered going into the season that this discount free agent signing that they got from Japan I always said, well, he was good in Japan, but we don't really know how it's going to translate. You just don't know until they get here and pitch a few games. Sure, he pitched in the World Baseball Classic, but he also gave up a lot of home runs over in Japan. So how's it going to translate? Well, so far, it translates, and it's been spectacular. So potentially, the Cubs have some really, really good starting pitching. Now, we do have a super chat from Geeky Girl Dad saying, what do we do with Hap? He simply can't hit and is the worst positional spot in the lineup. The last at bat was frustrating for fans, no question about it, because you weren't out of the game yet. You still had a chance, and that took the life out of you completely.
Yeah, no, especially right after Morell, was it 12 pitches in that at bat?
Yeah.
Works
Morell's career.
Yeah, works a deep count, works the walk. Got two on, nobody out, and Hap's just not been hitting the ball well at all in the last. I was looking at it from you go back basically a month, April 13th to May 12th. So coming into today, not including today's stats, he was hitting below 200, had a 574 OPS. This is coming off after the first couple weeks of the year when he was hitting pretty well. But it's been a longer stretch so far of just at best inconsistent because he's had some really good games in there. We talked about the Milwaukee series last week on the show. He had a good series. I mean, he had a good game on Friday in Pittsburgh. He's had those mixed in, but just overall has not looked good at the plate. He's not hitting for really any power. He's not
you hit it. That's what it is. He's not hitting for power right now.
Not even just power, just average in general. Like he's not getting hit. I think he's still getting on base at a decent clip. Not at the level that he wants, but like I think you're really looking at the power, just contact quality numbers, power numbers are all down for him right now. So it's that's the trend that you're looking at is like, while he is still getting on base, that part of his game is just not there right now.
Mini Braggs is in here because Mini Braggs is very angry. So Barb, protect your ears. Robert in the chat. Morell works his ass off, working a 12-pitch walk after being down 0-2. Hap comes in and immediately hits into a double play on the first pitch. Terrible at bat by Ian Happ. Just smashing the ball into the ground, like dirting it. I mean, what are we doing? Like, honestly, Robert hits the nail on the head. Ian Happ, that was one of his best at-bats of his career, in my opinion. Down 0-2, the patience he showed. He fouled one off his leg. The man is playing hurt. And then what does Ian Happ do to reward him? He comes out and bashes the ball into the ground for a double play. Like, come on. You got to be a little more patient there. 2 on, nobody out. Relax. Morell just got him down. I was pissed.
Because what happens when you're facing a really good bullpen that tends to get a lot of strikeouts, doesn't give up a lot of runs in the Braves, and you've already struck out 3 times in the game? You're trying to make something happen, and you're pressing at the plate, and that was clearly evident. when you have 3 Ks in a game and you get a pitch that's right there, right in the wheelhouse. I know what he was trying to do. I don't want to pretend and play armchair fan here and say, oh, you shouldn't have swung there. You probably shouldn't have swung there. Like, you probably should have taken a first pitch after Morell. You saw some control issues later on in the count. That was still a really good pitch to hit, and he just missed it, and that's baseball. He missed it.
We've got another super chat, $5 from Westland Eagle saying Patrick Wisdom is hot, should be playing more, and bring up Slaughter immediately. Get rid of Master Boney and Madrigal. Now, I don't know if this is what do they call that? A second account for our guy Gary.
Well, you're the Slaughter guy, aren't you?
Is this a burner account?
Stucky, aren't you the guy that's been hyping up Slaughter this whole time?
I've been saying Slaughter for a long time. It's time to give the man a chance.
You're going to be in the stands. You're going to be in the stands when he goes, right?
I saw that the
for 2 years now, Luke Stuckmeyer has walked into our studios
driving
and
a Slaughter
train.
train.
Slaughter. Nobody is talking about him.
That's right. You can't spell Stuckmeyer without the S from Slaughter. That's a fact. That's a fact.
No, like with the Wisdom thing, and I've seen already in the chat a couple times people talking about Wisdom not being in there at DH versus Hap being in there at DH. Like, part of it's the matchups. Like, you have Reynaldo Lopez on the mound. Like, they're trying to get not only the best matches they can from the start of the game, but like specifically for Wisdom. And this is something we've talked about for the last year, or close to that. That is, like, he has shown you where he's at his best, what matchups fit him when he's at his best at this point. And left-handers, soft tossers, like all that's going to play into it. This wasn't the lineup that Wisdom was going to crack with the pitcher on the mound. If it was a lefty, maybe, right? There are specific matchups that we've seen now that allow Patrick Wisdom to really thrive. And that's going back to the second half of last season and through the first month and a half of this year. So you see where Patrick Wisdom can thrive. You see where he can be at his best. You see what matchups he can take advantage of. You see what pitchers he can hit the ball really hard, either out of the park or somewhere, down in the gaps or whatever. You've seen that we have a sizable sample now of seeing where he kind of fits in there. So,
and remember when everyone was complaining about Patrick Wisdom playing every day a couple of years ago?
That goes last year. This was last year.
Well, this is what I mean. Craig Counsell's putting him in the best position he needs to be in right now. He is not an everyday player. He's a matchup-based player, and that's where he succeeds, and he's been succeeding in that role. I understand the frustration. Maybe you want to see him play on the corners a little bit more because Nick Madrigal is just not doing anything. I understand that point, but the Cubs and their analytics and the way they see it, they don't want to put Wisdom in a position that's going to take away from what he's been doing, because in his role right now, he's succeeding. And maybe he'll have to play a little bit more here down the road. Cause like I said, Nick Madrigal's a disaster. He's been getting way too many at bats, but he's not the only problem. What I mean is, if you want to play Wisdom a little bit more, maybe they get to that point, but they're not there yet. I think the way Counsell's deployed him has been perfect so far this year.
I tell you what, a problem's going to be. A problem's going to be if Morell's not feeling well after his foot was hit today. Like,
oh yeah,
Morell seems like he's just been hobbling around for like a week or two now, and you need his power so desperately. Obviously, it's another reason Wisdom's got to play right now. Like, you need that power in the lineup, or at least that possibility of him playing. But I've seen everything in the live YouTube chat, which is the best way to enjoy the CHGO experience, is to subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube page. I've seen the Godfather say everything from Hap is a fat cat with his no trade clause to the Godmother. Barb is here tonight, and she says she thinks Hap is hurt. So I don't know what the answer is, but he's not playing real well right now. That's for sure.
But he's had a very good year in left field too. I think it's hard when these games where you come up 0 for 4 and you're in a big spot there. It's hard to look past that because it is frustrating. I slammed my hat down when I saw the double play. I was frustrated too. But the reason Ian Happ's playing every day is because he's a damn good left fielder, and he's going to come around. He's done it. He goes through these peaks and valleys. Every major league player does it. But the way Happ has played defense in left field, just look back at a couple games ago. I can't remember the the catch he made in the gap saved a couple. I mean, he is a very valuable piece to this team, and that's why he's playing every day. That's to argue that point. I don't understand.
You want to talk about value, guys? You want to talk about real value? Ray CDJR. This May, our number one draft pick for all things Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Rams has got to be Ray CDJR in Fox Lake. And right now it's the season, which means not only is May the time to find your next vehicle, you can score huge savings too. For a limited time, lease a new 2024 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab for only $419 a month, or shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. Unbelievable. Let the amazing team at Ray CDJR help you land the perfect vehicle at the perfect price, because with the Ray Price Promise, the numbers you're hearing now are the same prices you can expect to shop in-store and online. It's because the Ray Price Promise means no price changing, no add-ons, no hidden fees. And since they prioritize affordability for their customers, hurry into Ray CDJR today and shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories, then drive home with more money in your pocket than you'd expect. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you got to check out the team at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, because they're the only team we recommend at CHGO. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com, serving the community since 1963.
Yeah, you're talking about, deals and just I gotta talk to you guys about just having fun with sports, watching sports, and nothing's better than Prize Picks. Before we get into Prize Picks, let me tell you, Prize Picks is offering a free square for Caitlin Clark's debut game on Tuesday, May 14th. So that is tomorrow. If Caitlin Clark gets at least 1 point, then the square wins. There is a timer on this square, so users must add it to a lineup before the timer ends before her first game. Again, that is May 14th, so don't miss out. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Baseball season, we're about 6 weeks into the baseball season now. It is underway, and there's no better way to cash in on the action than Prize Picks. Add your favorite players from the diamond to your Prize Picks lineups all season long. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less and add them to your Prize Picks lineups today. And it's not just baseball, folks. Prize Picks has something for every sports fan. From baseball and basketball to League of Legends and everything in between, you can pick Nikola Jokic, Shohei Ohtani, Connor McDavid, and Jude Bellingham all in the same lineup. I started playing Prize Picks. I don't know why it took me so long to figure it out, but one of the best things I have learned about the experience with Prize Picks is they even offer injury insurance. So if your lineup stay in play, even if one of your players gets injured. So for baseball games, if you have a player who registers 2 plate appearances or less, Prize Picks will have your back and not count that as a loss. It's a great way. It's great. It's fantastic. It's one of the best things about Prize Picks. So go to prizepicks.com/CHGO and use code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/CHGO and use code CHGO. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Well done,
Beautiful.
Gentlemen.
Beautiful. We're going to get to another super chat in a second, talking about the Cubs 2-0 loss to the Atlanta Braves. Just 5 hits for the Cubs. Imanaga, 5 shutout innings, but just not enough as they get 2 off of Hayden Wesneski and go on to beat the Cubs 2-0. So a rough start to the series in Atlanta, but at least they won 2 out of 3 against the Pirates. Now, if you're looking for pork power, Zach Short provided the power for today's game, presented by Illinois Pork Producers. Savor the flavor, savor the gains, and celebrate any occasion by enjoying the best pork produced by Illinois pig farmers. Former Cubs prospect, friend of Ian Happ, and he comes up with the offense to stick it to the Cubs. Whoever would have thought?
With 2 strikes too, right?
Yeah,
I think so. 2 strikes on a sweeper on the inside part, just with a Ryan Terrio poke out to the opposite field. Right? That's what it felt like. Yeah, who would have thought? Who would have thought the Zach Short revenge game would hit today? Who would have thought?
Barb's asking, is Wesneski a starter or a reliever? He's both right now. Right now, he's a reliever.
Yeah, and he was pretty good tonight, right?
Yeah, he was fine. I'm not blaming the game on the bullpen. I'm not.
Yeah.
Like you got to have more than 5 hits and you got to score a run to win.
Yeah, I think Wisniewski played pretty well tonight.
And
yeah, I mean, they got a couple of runs off him, but again, it's one of the best lineups in baseball, right? Like he went 3 innings, right? 3 innings and gave up the 2 runs, and did you want him to go scoreless, right? But like when you're facing a team like that with hitters like that, I mean, look at Marcell Ozuna. I feel like he didn't swing at a pitch outside the zone the entire night. Like he felt like he was just completely locked in, seeing everything, whether it was from Imanaga or Wisniewski. Didn't feel like they got him to chase at all. So you just have a really good lineup top to bottom, and if you're not scoring runs, like it was a 2-0 game, right? Like again, you said it. Like Imanaga had a great day. I thought Wisniewski was fine and good enough to help the Cubs stay in position to win, obviously. But the offense just didn't get anything done. The offense just didn't get anything done, and that's ultimately the story of today. Is that just not being able to score a run.
Got another super chat.
Well, we got a super chat.
Yeah, super chat real quick. The Westland Eagle, $10 again. Oh, look at this, throwing the cash around. Suzuki and Wisdom were the 2 best players last month and half of last season. He didn't play the matchups. Wisdom hits home run every 14 at bats. Past 4 seasons, top 5 in baseball. Wisdom needs to play until he cools off. More votes of confidence for Patrick Wisdom. I'm not.
I didn't think I'd be getting those. I didn't think we'd be hearing those. The amount of people that said he needed to be DFA'd.
Exactly. They're the early season DFA'ers.
Yeah.
So careful what you wish for. I mean, if Morell is really hurt, you're going to see him every day. And like I said, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. But Patrick Wisdom is really good in his role right now. I don't think that if you want to complain about offense, yes, Ian Happ's a big concern, but my big concern is that the last couple of guys in the lineup, specifically from the catcher position, Miguel Amaya had a hit in the 8th inning there. He put a pretty good poke on it, but 5 for his last, I think, 42 coming? I mean, the guy's been a black hole in the lineup. If you want to complain about offense, I think it's Madrigal and Amaya more so than other guys. I think Wisdom, if you want to play him every day, it's not going to happen with Counsell regarding an injury to a guy like Morell or a guy playing at the corners, because the Cubs have outfielders that are going to play there. They got plenty of depth there. Maybe he'll play a platoon spot at first base once a week, but your best bet for him to play more is third base. It's just that's the way this team is constructed.
Yeah. And here's just
right. Could be a slaughterhouse move.
Just the response to that, the last super chat. Patrick Wisdom from July 15th on last year. Well, he was, again, we've talked about it. He was really good. He had a 147 WRC plus. Can you guess how many plate appearances he saw in that time?
To the end of the year?
From July 15th on second half at post All-Star break. How many plate appearances he actually saw?
Less than 90.
82. Nico Horner, Seiya Suzuki, Cody Bellinger, Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ, none of those guys saw less than 271 plate appearances.
Yeah.
So, yes, was Patrick Wisdom stat-wise one of the Cubs' better hitters in the second half? Yes. Was he used in matchups and not every single day like some of the other hitters? Absolutely. Like this is what we saw last year. So, yes, like while Wisdom is hitting well, and may he need to step up and DH more against matchups that don't suit him, that's probably going to end up having to happen because you need to find offense from somewhere. You need to find consistent offense somewhere. And when the things you aren't doing or when the things you are doing aren't working, you have to try something else. So Craig Counsell may be forced to use Patrick Wisdom in situations that are just not optimal for him to have his most success, the way we've seen him have since after the All-Star break 2023. But because of that, because we've seen the success come because of matchup-based success, I'm not going to sit here and say like Patrick Wisdom needs to play every day. Patrick Wisdom needs to play every day because, again, he is doing well. He is hitting well, but he's hitting well in his role in the matchups that he's given. And he's taking those opportunities and running with them. He's taking advantage of them. But we know who Patrick Wisdom is, and to think that he's going to to think that the success he's having in matchup-based situations is going to translate into if he does get every single day playing time. I wouldn't be so quick to say that that's a certainty. I wouldn't expect that because we know. We know what he has success in. We know what he struggles in. And if you're putting him in there every single day, you're exposing him to more situations he might struggle in. And I will also say, like, at some point you can't just protect everyone, right? Like when like I said, when you need to find offense from somewhere, you need to try new things, and that may end up being not protecting Patrick Wisdom by using him in his optimal matchups. That may have to happen. That may be a choice Craig Counsell has to make, but it's definitely far from a certainty that he's going to be successful if he starts getting everyday playing time.
Yeah, or it could be Vasquez. It could be Slaughter. It could be anybody. I mean, I don't know who the next person is if Morell's hurt. I just know if Morell's hurt, it's a bad thing because if he was, and again, I have no information saying that like he's headed to the IL, but we just had ALLCITY go as the 14th player on this team headed to the injured list this season, and we're in early May. Like that's an insane number for early. What was the number you said on the pregame show, Ryan? Like it's basically in Cubs history, this many IL or DL back in the day appearances is like it's like top three worst.
Yeah, because it was, but that was also with the 13th injury. That was
right.
The 13th.
Yeah, that was 13.
Comparison
now we
to
got
21,
14, maybe 15.
Yeah, 14, maybe 15, and I don't know we have to get Ed Hardig on the phone or something and see if he could look up those numbers. But yeah, it's a lot of injuries right now. We're 42 games into the year, and they already got 14, potentially more, on the way as far as guys that have spent time on the injured list. It is rough, and then you it's that, and you have guys struggling, and that kind of stuff just continues to get magnified when there's so much adversity going on, or the team is facing right now and throughout the year.
The good thing here, though, is it looks like Drew Smyly might be back next week, maybe a week after. He should be back here pretty soon. He's going to take Richard Lovelady's spot. Richard Lovelady hasn't been terrible, but he's raw. He's like Luke Little. He's going to have your good outing. He's going to have your bad one. Drew Smyly was a rock solid piece of that bullpen last year. He's going to take that spot, and that's going to immediately take my anxiety from a 9 to a 5 when he's in there. He's a very solid reliever. He's coming back, and then I think Merriweather too pretty soon. I know they've been saying he's ramping up. I don't know when, but that will also. You just hope that there's no other Almontes. That one kind of came out of nowhere. He was pitching great, and then all of a sudden, forearm or shoulder strain. I think, yes, the injuries have been a huge issue, and they have managed to get through the best that they can. But I also I think that there is a little criticism valid for how this bullpen was built. I don't want to get into it tonight because that wasn't the problem, but there wasn't enough depth there again. And, I'm looking forward to seeing Drew Smyly come back just because he is a much better option than Lovelady. But you're missing the guy. Like, you didn't hit on a guy like you did Michael Fulmer last year. That was a guy that you could throw in there every time with Mark Leiter and like, wow, this feels great. Game over. They don't have that luxury right now.
Hey, by the way, I forgot to say, I do want to point out that our new diehards, one after another, every day. Today it was Kyle, Mark, Marcus, and from across the pond, William and Kate, who said it's a bloody good show. It's a bloody good time. Interesting. I don't know who that could be, but William and Kate from across the pond.
They said they missed us. They said they missed us in London last summer.
Yeah, bloody well loved this show. Bloody well loved this show was the comment they said. I don't know what that means. And I saw Tyler in the chat was asking, is Morell hurt? No. He obviously left the game and they pinch ran for him. He had fouled the ball off his foot. He looked like he was in a lot of pain. We have no report that like, yes, something's broken or anything. It just didn't look like he didn't look like a guy who was feeling very good. And I've seen multiple times this week. The guy's a banged up player right now. They're not going to tell you like this guy's got a bruise here, a bruise here, a bruise here. Morell looks like a guy who's been beaten up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there was the finger thing that happened. Was it San Diego? It's from what I remember Counsell talking about a couple weeks ago, wasn't an issue anymore. But it's just like a bunch of different, the knee, the foot now.
He fouled a ball off his shin the other day too, the side of his shin. What game was that in? That was like less than 2 weeks ago too. He did it like twice in the same at bat. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he's got a bunch of little.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of bumps and bruises, but And it's kind of one of those weird balances of like, if it's September, you're playing through it. If you can play, you're playing through it, right? You're in mid-May. Maybe it's definitely likelier chance that you would be more willing to take your break, get healthy, whatever. But we also know that there's a lot of guys that are out right now, or a lot of guys that are just coming back to the lineup, or a lot of guys that some key contributors that are just not playing right now that you're looking at as like, okay, like can you afford to lose him from the lineup, or does he need to keep playing? It's a weird balance, and I don't know what the right answer is, right? So
you can't afford to lose them. You can't afford to lose them from the lineup. They can't score runs.
Well, you can, but it's also
one-run game every other day.
Yeah, you can't afford them. But what I'm trying to say is like, trying to balance that against the fact, like, do you want to play hurt? Do you want? Like, I don't think he's injured, but he's hurt. And do you want to play hurt, or can you afford to give him a 10-day break?
That's the Dansby argument, right? Like, was he doing more harm than good by fighting through that injury and not just? I don't know. I mean, he wasn't playing great, but I'll tell you what does make you feel good, no matter what. Blue Moon, of course. Some beers can say they're brewed for baseball, but only Blue Moon is brewed by baseball. Beer and baseball just go together, and no beer goes better than the one that was literally born in a ballpark. Blue Moon was created at Coors Field in Denver, and it's the natural choice all season long. The weather on Mother's Day this past weekend, screaming, give me a Blue Moon. Give mom, a Blue Moon. Nothing beats watching baseball, lounging by the pool, or just hanging out at the beach with an ice-cold Blue Moon. Brewed by baseball to give you a dose of nostalgia and get you excited for a season. A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all baseball season long. Bring the ballpark to you with Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale. It's one of a kind every time. Get Blue Moon delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO to see your delivery options. That's get.bluemoonbeer.com/CHGO. Blue Moon, made brighter, celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Wish they'd sell Blue Moon at Wrigley. I think they do in some of those those craft cave areas. But I have been now to 5 games this year. I bought all my tickets on GameTime. You want to see the receipt? I got it right there. Love going to games. Took my mom to an early Mother's Day game last Sunday on GameTime. 3 tickets. I think I was like 3 rows from the right field wall. I was right on top of the action. $50 a ticket. I'm going to go Friday. $10 a seat right now on GameTime. It really is the best ticketing app. GameTime is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the GameTime app actually go down closer it gets to first pitch. That is true because I often buy my tickets about 20 minutes before the game. Killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, the lowest price guarantee. GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. And I just said, went on Mother's Day with my mom, going to go Friday, did a little, hopped in the bleachers with you guys a couple days ago for a Friday 120 game. All my tickets through GameTime. You can use also the customize your spot thing with the app. So Wrigley's got a couple obstructed views. You want to see where you're sitting, just literally tap your seat on there. You can even do the panorama, shows you exactly where you're at and what you're looking at and where your vantage point is in the ballpark. Last minute deals, flash deals, zone deals, easy to find and buy MLB tickets for every kind of event in your area. Again, all in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. The lowest price guarantee, or GameTime will even credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, use the code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, just create an account, type in the code, capital CHGO for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Might want to use it this Friday for the Friday 120 Club. Also,
I have the
Cody's
app.
birthday.
Really?
Braggs is not going to be there.
Okay,
Matt Peck filling in, pinch hitting for Mr. Braggs. Tiny Braggs will not be there. Cody will be turning 33 that day. And I've heard that they're shutting down the streets around Wrigleyville. I can't confirm that. I've just heard reports of it. I don't know if it's true. Kevin, you work at WGN where they have real news. You might know.
What are you showing there, Kevin?
I was trying to show the GameTime apps for Friday.
Yeah, instead of with nudie picks or something.
$10 for a 120 game against the Pirates at Wrigley this Friday or next Friday, and it's going to be like I think it's going to be pretty decent.
So that's the question, Kevin. Do I, with the GameTime app, do I wait for the May 31st because we've got Friday 120s, Cody's birthday, Cincinnati or Pittsburgh here this Friday 5/17, and then 5/31 against Cincinnati is I'll be back, and it's my daughter's 6th birthday, so I'm bringing my wife, my daughter, and my mom are all coming for coming to the Friday 120 game. Do I get my tickets on GameTime now, or do I wait all the way until the day of the game? Because I mean, you're telling me, tickets right now are fairly cheap. Maybe I need to get them now.
I have the luxury of living a mile and a half from the park, so I'm not going to tell you how to Cub. I know you're a little bit farther away out in Northwest Indiana, but I wait. That's how I do it. Anytime I can get to a ball game for under $20, I do it almost 9 times out of 10 and buy all my tickets through GameTime. Wait it out.
Bragg, how are you gonna deal with Addie in the bleachers? Like, how do you control the group around you? I mean, that's gonna be wild. I mean,
she'll be the craziest one. Come on,
there's some drunken sailors out
She
there.
is my offspring, so she is exactly like me. She will be. She was in the bleachers last year. You hung out with her at Murphy's last year as well, so she's already a veteran to this game. So she's ready. We're excited. She's got even more energy than the last time you saw her, Cody or Luke. So get ready.
Is your mom bringing cookies?
No, I don't think so. But maybe we'll task her to. It is Addie's birthday, right? We can't, maybe you'll be handing them out like you were the donuts.
I saw you opened up your pool. Can I buy a ticket to the pool?
Yeah, you don't need to buy a ticket. Anybody at CHGO is welcome to come hang out in my cul-de-sac in my pool, with the exception of Adam Hogan, Mark Carmen, because they are ungrateful assholes. So,
wow.
No, they made fun of the party. I had the party last year. They made fun of it for the last year. They're not invited anymore. Period.
They're lucky Luke's kids are asleep.
If I could get Gary, the Godfather, and Barb in that pool, I'd show up. If we could all get that'd be a pool party.
All right. Well,
I'll go.
Cool. Hey, did you guys see the prospect list? Top 100 prospects in baseball. Cubs back to 8, and the next closest team with 6 is the Rockies. So, I mean, is every prospect going to hit? No, they are not.
No.
Are all of the 8 that are in the top 100 going to hit?
Nope.
Probably not.
Unlikely.
But if half of those top 100 prospects hit, and you get 4 out of that group, now you're building something. Like that'd be a pretty good percentage. If you take the 8 names that are in that top 100 list and you say, all right, are 4 of these, can you get 4 all-stars out of that group, out of top 100 prospects? Well, to me, that's shooting really, really high. But if you can do it, that's a pretty good list.
Yeah. Shout out Jefferson Rojas, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. 18, 19. Yeah.
That's awesome. And a premium position, no less. That's a high value chip in a trade if the Cubs want to utilize that coming up, just because you got Dansby for a few more years. But again, he's still 18. That's a forecasted move way down the road.
Yeah, no, it's I'm looking at it, the names. Obviously, like, people have paid enough attention to the Cubs and their prospects know the names, but PCA, Kate Horton, Owen Casey, Matt Shaw, Kevin Alcantara, James Triantos, Moises Ballesteros, and Jefferson Rojas. So just names. Honestly, names up and down the system, up and down the farm system on this. So it looks like were all these guys to make it to Wrigley, that it would stagger kind of in a good way where it's not like what happened in 2015, 14, 15, 16, where all the Cubs top prospects came up at once and then all needed to be paid at once, right? Like these guys years wise could be staggered out a little better, but Luke, you mentioned not every prospect is going to work out. Not every prospect is going to hit at the major league level. I don't think all 8 of these guys will make it to the major leagues at the Cubs if they all do.
Right.
I look at it, a guy like James Triantos, ranked number 61 on this on this list. Yeah, obviously, he's doing pretty well. He's down in Double-A, but you look at where the Cubs are at middle infield wise, with not just with Dansby and Nico, but Matt Shaw is one of your top prospects who also could end up playing maybe second base or some middle infield in some way if it's not third base. Like, I mean, Jefferson Rojas is younger than him, but he's a shortstop prospect. You got good middle infield, type of player, especially when you're talking about second base, that maybe end up blocking James Toronto. So I don't know that he's going to make it to the Cubs if he, cracks the big leagues. And we're talking about trading, and we're talking about what the Cubs can do this season. Maybe a valuable piece to have when it comes time for a trade and whatever the Cubs are needing, whether that's anytime soon or closer to the deadline, could be a valuable piece to have that could be used in some trade talks. But that's for everyone on that list, obviously. Anyone that they don't see cracking the major league team with them, having top 100, having more top 100 players than not is obviously a good thing.
Especially when now your team is starting to look like they can be a competitive. I don't want to use the word competitive because that's a word that we heard a couple years ago and it was a false term coming our way. A team that has playoff potential and really, in my eyes, still should win this division. All these injuries or not, this team is still the best team in the division, in my eyes. So, like, considering that and then knowing that backing that up is what some people consider to be 8 top 100 prospects, more than any other franchise in baseball, that's it. That's what you're looking to build. That's how you keep restocking and reloading, and you don't have to constantly tear down the team every 5 years and watch 5 more years of bad baseball just to restock it again. Hopefully that's the last time the Cubs franchise will have to do that.
And here's the other thing about trades, because at the deadline, I know this team, I think, is a playoff team, regardless if they win the division or not. They've played like it. They've shown it. They have the depth. They have the starting pitching. I'm pretty confident regarding I know it's early, but I think this is a playoff team. But I don't want people to say, oh, my God, we're in July. Let's move one of these top 100 guys for a rental player. I can tell you right now, Jed's not going to do it unless it's a top 15, 20 bat in baseball. It's not going to happen. He's not going to do it for pitching because they have a lot of the depth there already. That's what I urge caution on. This is probably not the year you see that huge swing. Maybe it is. Maybe they find themselves 3 games up in July. That's all hypotheticals. I don't like to deal in hypotheticals, but I urge caution when saying that they're going to move a top 100 guy. Those trades happen, but oftentimes we don't see the big prospect trades in baseball anymore. Obviously, we saw it with Juan Soto because he's Juan fucking Soto. But everybody else, I mean, you don't really see the multiple top 100 guys, let alone the Cubs have a couple top 50 guys. You're not going to really see those guys move in the same trade, let alone the same deadline coming up. I would urge caution and pump the brakes a little bit there. And for God's sakes, stop saying they're going to trade Cade Horton. I've seen so many people online saying they're trading Cade.
Really?
I keep seeing it in all these.
They're not trading. There's no scenario where they're trading Cade Horton. By the way, we're getting close to June 1st. We're getting closer and closer to June 1st call-up potentially.
Yeah, I keep seeing people like, oh, flip Cade Horton for what's his name over in Oakland. Stop it.
Mason Miller.
They are not trading Cade Horton.
To be fair, it's probably going to be even more than Cade Horton to get Mason Miller, if we're being honest.
But the Jed won't do it. No way. Smarter than that.
No, yeah, I mean, it's like we've been talking about the farm system and what they've done the last, obviously since starting with the Yu Darvish trade, but then in 2021 the trade deadline, and like you're seeing that as far as bearing fruit throughout the farm system. But like we're still at a point where, and Luke, if you remember, like during the offseason, I think it was like we were talking about New Year's resolutions, and I said like the Cubs' New Year's resolutions should be getting real results from the prospects, real contributions from the prospects. And you're still not at a point where those guys are, a lot of those guys are contributing mightily. Like you obviously have like Jordan Wicks before he got hurt was in there, and like Javier Assad's not really a prospect before, but he's on the younger side. You got some bullpen guys, and
Imanaga's a
PCA's
rookie, but not a prospect.
Yeah, like PCA's been.
Bush, you could consider a prospect.
Yeah, Bush, you're right there with him. But like PCA's been up for a little bit. He's had some good times up here since obviously getting that first hit out of the way, and just playing great defense. So like you have small examples of it, but like you're still not at the point where your prospects from that like era of tearing down the roster are major contributors yet. And so like having the guys, the 8 prospects in the top 100, great. But like, I think like you really want to see guys start to break out and be major contributors for this team, because not only are they going to cost less money, which allow you to go get other players in free agency or trades or whatever, but it's just like, then you're really seeing results, like true full results of what you did with the farm system over the last few years, like bearing fruit at the major league level and really helping lead that charge toward being a consistent playoff team.
You want to get to who you got?
Oh, yeah.
Because
did Kevin have something? Kevin was about to say something.
Oh, you were going to say something, Kevin?
Just real quick with the
go ahead.
The prospect breakout. I know we've talked about PCA a few times, and I know that he's probably a candidate to go back down at some point this season when guys get healthy. But the Cubs' best lineup in my head is he's playing center fielder, Bellinger is playing first, and you have Bush DHing. And I wonder if that's the breakout candidate that you get this year. It seems like they're giving him runway to be that breakout candidate, and that seems to be the lineup that would limit the at-bats from some of the black holes that you're seeing in the lineup right now. I know that you want Michael Bush to play more first base, and I think he's going to continue to get opportunities there. But when we're talking about prospect breakout, PCA has had a couple really nice games. I don't think he's not polished. No young player. We just saw with Jackson Ollie. No high-end prospect is going to come in and light the world on fire. But he seems like the guy that has the breakout. He's a threat on the bases. Put together a couple nice at-bats over the weekend in Pittsburgh and the week before. I know the hits aren't always there. But that, to me, it just feels like he's getting closer and closer to the cusp of breaking out. But again, he still could go back down. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. But do you think so, Ryan? Think that's the breakout candidate?
I do agree in the sense that, like, especially if Mike Tauchman continues to hit the way he is, Bellinger and Seiya are obviously your outfielders and whatever. If Hap can figure out a turnaround here in the near future, like I still think when this lineup is fully healthy, like PCA is probably going back down to AAA. I just think that when you're talking about right now, getting him every day at bats and development, that's the best way to do it. But yeah, I mean, I don't disagree that the best overall lineup, whether that's offensively or defensively, could be PCA in center field, Bellinger at first base, and then Bush DHing or whatever, however they want to do that. Like defensively, I definitely think that's your optimal lineup.
I think it's your best lineup in general, but you don't want to go to that right away. You're still playing good baseball.
And you know what that does? It takes Tauchman out of the lineup, who's been one of the best players this season.
Yeah.
I mean, he just has been kind of the glue guy to the lineup.
Exactly. He's leading off now.
I'm not saying that's still not Kevin's lineup might be the right answer. That's what I said at the beginning of the season. But I do believe that Tauchman has earned more playing time than I ever thought he was going to get this season. I thought he was just going to be – I think they said it in the broadcast. They're like, he's not a fourth outfielder. He's just one of 4 outfielders that they're using right now.
And for a guy that you consider to be a fourth outfielder, like that's kind of a compliment, as good a compliment as you can give him, right? Like he's now played his way into like, this guy's not just a bench guy that's replacing guys or giving guys days off now. Like he's played his way into real playing time and forcing the team to make decisions, like real decisions on how to dole out playing time. Like that's a testament to the work Tauchman's put in this year.
It just would be great to see a breakout from a prospect. And I know that that's hard to get. You don't often get those, especially with a guy who's 22. But man, you're right. If I'm putting money on a guy to break out, it's PCA. And boy, you're right. It would do wonders for this team.
Agreed. All right, let's get to who we got.
Let's do it.
Because 2-0 loss with 5 hits. We've beaten it to like a dead horse here. I don't even know what we can do. I took Nico because when the lineup wasn't even out when Braggs was forcing us to make our picks. So, and then Ryan went Morell and Cody went Masterboni. And in the middle, right after I took Nico, Brendan was like, I'll take Nico. We're like, you can't take Nico. And then he's like, I'll take Morell. We're like, you can't take Morell. And then he said, all right, at the end, our pregame show had already started. He's like, I'll take Bellinger. And we agreed he could take Bellinger as long as Bellinger didn't have a good game. So that happened. Nobody took Seiya, right?
I took Seiya.
Oh, Kevin took Seiya. Now,
yeah.
The only person to me that has even a slightest argument for it is Kevin, because he had a hit. He took 2 to the wall. I thought 1 was going to be a home run, but he also didn't come through at the end of the game. I feel like this is one where we should all just chalk it up and say, nobody wins, nobody played today.
Well,
just because I win and nobody plays there. You guys tried to play that card on me last week too.
Listen,
I mean, yeah.
Kevin gets the win. I'd say Kevin gets the win.
That's fine. I'm cool with that.
And Brendan, yeah, I got my readers, but just remember, 2010 vision, baby. 2010 vision is what I've really got. And let me tell you something. I didn't need these readers till I was 46 years old. Let me know when you get there, pal. If you aren't wearing readers, I'll be real surprised. Real surprised. There's no contact lenses in here, man.
Big contact guy. Got contacts.
You
I had contacts since I was like 14. Oh, yeah.
What, at 14?
14 or 15, something like that.
Did we play a softball game today or not?
We didn't play a softball game. It was rained out.
Out. So the defending Media League champs are returning, but they were rained out in the first game back.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the softball season without a rain out in the first one. That's the only way you can start it off.
I like this idea from James. Instead of a who you got, it's a who stinks in honor of the Godfather, because Godfather is going to the heart specialist.
Yeah, shout out
tomorrow.
To the Good luck tomorrow.
And the chat
tomorrow, Godfather.
So I like this idea though, as a segment idea. Instead of who you got, who stinks.
How about he stinks?
He stinks.
Instead of he stinks.
Bragg stinks. We'll go with that.
I think.
Go ahead, Kevin.
I think.
See, when you do that, Ryan, you get kicked off the show, and now you're gone. You see how that works?
Bragg's
terrorizing
Ryan, right?
Guys terrorizing the Bears show, and then now wants to come over here and terrorize our
Braggs,
show.
Feel free to take me out. I'll go to bed.
I can't remember what I was going to say. That was too funny. I don't remember. I was trying to hint back to something Corey said in the chat about Brendan, but now I can't remember what it was.
He said, Brendan, you can't read? They said he was disqualified basically for making 2 picks that were already put on there.
Wait, so Kevin gets the win, right?
Kevin gets the win. Kevin gets the win for taking 2 balls to the warning track.
There you go.
That's what I was going to say. Thank you for reminding me. Corey put this in the chat 2 nights ago. Who pissed off the BABIP gods? Which one of us? And again, Seiya again today. I know we only had 1 hit and the 2 weren't. God, he's hitting the crap out of the ball, man. It's only a matter of time before one ends up in the seats. It could be tomorrow. I don't know. They're facing Chris Sale tomorrow, right? So maybe not against Chris Sale, who's been pretty nice to start the year. But yeah, I'm impressed. Sale looks good. He's hitting the ball hard. It's just not falling. That'll change. So it's great to have his bat back. And thank you for the who you got win. I will take it.
He's a winner.
Yeah.
So are the Braves. 2-0.
I'm so far leading. I'm 12-30 in the standings, which would be a 285 winning percentage.
Was that my first win or second win?
You have 2 wins. You're 2-6. You're 2 out of 8 this year. You have a 250 winning percentage. So
Brendan wants to know his record. These are all by disputed record. We don't know because
210 for Brendan. No, we know. I did it. I actually did every game and didn't delete them with Corey and Cody.
Allegedly
in the office.
Yeah.
They were there every time.
I wasn't there to see it.
They were there when I came up with the records too. Keep that in mind.
And then he deleted them. You only did half the games and then deleted them. We know how this goes. I do gotta give
for a full post game tomorrow, right?
I do gotta give one shout out to Stan, the elevator guy at Wrigley. He was actually in the chat earlier.
Oh yeah.
He said last week he like stopped me and he like I was with one of the other riders. We're getting out of the elevator and he's kind of like, hey. I look back and he gives me like one of these. I'm like, what did I do? I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble for sure. But he brought me over. He's like, hey, he's like, I recognized your voice. You're on like CHGO Cubs. Found you guys last year. Really enjoy your stuff.
Oh, he's still there. Stanley Mitchell.
Is he in there? There you go. Stan.
Yeah, he's in there right there.
He said, I forgot what he said he wants you to do, but he said to tell Cody to keep doing beer bats. So we'll keep that one going. But yeah, I just want to shout out Stan. He works the elevator. It's the one that goes up like to the left of the marquee. It kind of goes up to like the Catalina Club and the press box and the suites.
That's a guy to know. That's a guy to know.
So there you go. So
Stan's somebody you want to know. You want to get in one of those crowded elevators? Stan holds the door.
Yeah. So there you go.
The only elevator on the left.
No, there's one all the way down.
Hey, late happy birthday to Danny Rocket too, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Shows how much I know.
We're back for a full hour of post game tomorrow after the game. No pregame show tomorrow. I believe Cody is back. Well, he was at the Indigo Girls concert, or what was he at? Well, I don't know, some sort of concert like that. But Bette Midler impersonator or something like that.
He said he was taking a break and I guarantee you he was scoreboard watching in between songs. Guaranteed.
Oh yeah, and wagering, lots of wagering. All right, Cubs lose 2-0, just 5 hits. Let's hope for better against Chris Sale. Protect your sleeves. He'll be coming after him tomorrow.
Nice.
Sale likes to slice him up. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube page. And don't forget to sign up to be a diehard. We appreciate you all. Thanks for watching. Thanks for staying up. And fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.